John Patrick McEnroe Jr. is an American former World No.1 professional tennis player, often rated among the greatest of all time in the sport, especially for his touch on the volley. He won 7 Grand Slam singles titles, 9 Grand Slam men's doubles titles, and 1 Grand Slam mixed doubles title. He also won a record 8 year-end championships, 19 Grand Prix Super Series titles, and finished his career with 77 ATP-listed singles titles and 78 in doubles. McEnroe is known for his shot-making artistry and volleying skills, for his rivalries with Bjorn Borg, Jimmy Connors and Ivan Lendl, and for his confrontational on-court behavior, which frequently landed him in trouble with umpires and tennis authorities. In 1981, 1983 and 1984 he was both the ATP Player of the Year and the ITF World Champion for men's singles. His match record of 82-3 in 1984 remains the best single-season win rate of the Open era. McEnroe is a former captain of the United States Davis Cup team and as a player was part of 5 Cup-winning teams. He continues to play tennis and competes in senior events on the ATP Champions Tour. He was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1999 and received the Philippe Chatrier Award in 2007. After his tennis career he became a television commentator, a game show host and a chat show host. Additionally, he has appeared in several films and television shows as himself and has played music live. He has been married since 1997 to musician and former Scandal lead singer Patti Smith. They have 6 children between them. Early life. McEnroe was born in Wiesbaden, Hesse, West Germany, to American parents John Patrick McEnroe Sr. and his wife K.N.E. Acute Tresham. His father, who is of Irish descent, was at the time stationed with the United States Air Force. In 1960, the family moved to the New York City area, where McEnroe's father worked daytime as an advertising agent while attending Fordham Law School by night. He has 2 younger brothers, Mark and former professional tennis player Patrick. McEnroe grew up in Douglaston, Queens, New York City. He started playing tennis when he was 8, at the nearby Douglaston Club with his brothers. When he was 9, his parents enrolled him in the Eastern Lawn Tennis Association, and he soon started playing regional tournaments. He then began competing in national juniors tournaments, and at 12, when he was ranked 7 in his age group, he joined the Port Washington Tennis Academy, Long Island, New York. McEnroe attended Trinity School and graduated in 1977. Career. As an 18-year-old amateur in 1977, McEnroe won the mixed doubles at the French Open with Mary Carrillo, and then made it through the qualifying tournament and into the main draw at Wimbledon, where he lost in the semi-finals to Jimmy Connors in 4 sets. It was the best performance by a qualifier at a Grand Slam tournament and a record performance by an amateur in the Open era. After Wimbledon in 1977, McEnroe entered Stanford University and won the National Collegiate Athletic Association singles and team titles in 1978. Later in 1978, he joined the ATP Tour and signed his first professional endorsement deal with Sergio Tacchini. He again advanced to the semi-finals at a Grand Slam, this time the US Open, losing again to Connors, following which he proceeded to win 5 titles that year, including his first Masters Grand Prix, beating Arthur Ashe in straight sets. In 1979, McEnroe McEnroe won the Wimbledon doubles title, the duo later adding the 1979 US Open doubles title to the haul as well. McEnroe won his first Grand Slam singles title at the US Open. He defeated his friend Vitas Gerulaitis in straight sets in the final to become the youngest male winner of the singles title at the US Open since Pancho Gonzalez, who was also 20 in 1948. He also won the prestigious season-ending WCT Finals, beating Bjorn Borg in 4 sets. McEnroe won 10 singles and 17 doubles titles that year. At Wimbledon, McEnroe reached the 1980 Wimbledon men's singles final, his first final at Wimbledon, where he faced Bjorn Borg, who was gunning for his 5th consecutive Wimbledon title. At the start of the final, McEnroe was booed by the crowd as he entered center court following heated exchanges with officials during his semi-final victory over Jimmy Connors. In a 4th-set tiebreaker that lasted 20 minutes, McEnroe saved 5 match points and eventually won 18-16. McEnroe, however, could not break Borg's serve in the 5th set, which the Swede won 8-6. This match was called the best Wimbledon final by ESPN's Countdown show, whose #1. McEnroe exacted revenge 2 months later, beating Borg in the 5-set final of the 1980 US Open. McEnroe remained controversial when he returned to Wimbledon in 1981. Following his first-round match against Tom Gullickson, McEnroe was fined US $1,500 and came close to being thrown out after he called umpire Ted James the pits of the world, and then swore at tournament referee Fred Hoyles. He also made famous the phrase, "You cannot be serious," which years later became the title of McEnroe's autobiography, by shouting it after several umpires' calls during his matches. This behavior was in sharp contrast to that of Borg, who was painted by the press as an unflappable iceman. Nevertheless, in matches played between the two, McEnroe never lost his temper. However, despite the controversy and merciless criticism from the British press, McEnroe again made the Wimbledon men's singles final against Borg. This time, McEnroe prevailed in 4 sets to end the Swede's run of 41 consecutive match victories at the All England Club. TV commentator Bud Collins quipped after the Independence Day battle, paraphrasing, "Yankee Doodle, stick a feather in his cap and call it McEnroe." The controversy, however, did not end there. In response to McEnroe's on-court outbursts during the championships, the All England Club did not accord McEnroe honorary club membership, an honor normally given to singles champions after the first victory. McEnroe responded by not attending the traditional champions' dinner that evening. He told the press, "I wanted to spend the evening with my family and friends and the people who had supported me, not a bunch of stiffs who are 70 to 80 years old, telling you that you're acting like a jerk." The honor was eventually accorded to McEnroe after he won the championship again. Borg and McEnroe had the final confrontation in the final of the 1981 US Open. McEnroe won in 4 sets, becoming the first male player since the 1920s to win 3 consecutive US Open singles titles. Borg never played another Grand Slam event. McEnroe also won his second WCT final, beating Johan Kriek in straight sets. McEnroe lost to Jimmy Connors in the 1982 Wimbledon final. McEnroe lost only 1 set going into the final. However, Connors won the 4th set tiebreak and the 5th set. In 1983, McEnroe reached his 4th consecutive Wimbledon final, dropping only 1 set throughout the tournament tournament and sweeping aside the unheralded New Zealander Chris Lewis in straight sets. He also played at the Australian Open for the first time, making it to the semi-finals before being defeated in 4 sets by Mats Wilander. He made the WCT final for the 3rd time and beat Ivan Lendl in an epic 5-setter. He took the Masters Grand Prix title for the 2nd time, again beating Lendl in straight sets. At the 1984 French Open, McEnroe lost a close final match to Ivan Lendl. McEnroe was on the verge of beating Lendl after winning the first 2 sets, but Lendl's decision to use more topspin lobs and cross-court backhand passing shots, as well as fatigue and temperamental outbursts, got the better of McEnroe, allowing Lendl to win a dramatic 5-setter. The loss ended a 42-match winning streak since the start of the season and was the closest McEnroe ever came to winning the French Open. In his autobiography, McEnroe described this loss as his bitterest defeat and conveyed the impression that this was a shadow on his career that could never be chased. In the 1984 Wimbledon final, McEnroe played a virtually flawless match to defeat Connors in just 80 minutes, 6-1, 6-1, 6-2. That was McEnroe's 3rd and final Wimbledon singles title. Again, McEnroe had won Wimbledon while dropping just 1 set throughout the entire tournament, this time to Paul McNamee. McEnroe won his 4th US Open title in 1984 by defeating Lendl in straight sets in the final, after defeating Connors in a 5-set semi-final. He won his 4th WCT final, defeating Connors in 5 sets, and took his 3rd Masters Grand Prix, beating Ivan Lendl in straight sets. 1984 was McEnroe's best year on the tennis tour, as he compiled an 82-3 record and won a career-high 13 singles tournaments, including Wimbledon and the US Open. McEnroe achieved a higher win rate than Jimmy Connors' 1974 season, with Connors winning 99 of 103 matches along with 15 singles tournaments. McEnroe also was on the winning US World Team Cup and runner-up Davis Cup teams. The only male who has come close to matching McEnroe's 1984 win-loss records since then was Roger Federer in 2005. Federer was 81-3 before losing his last match of the year to David Nalbandian in 5 sets. McEnroe's 1984 season did not end without controversy. While playing and winning the tournament in Stockholm, McEnroe had an on-court outburst that became notorious in sports highlight reels. After questioning a call made by the chair umpire, McEnroe demanded, "Answer my question." The question jerked. McEnroe then slammed his racket into a juice cart beside the court. He was suspended for 21 days for exceeding a $7,500 limit on fines that had been created because of his behavior. In 1985, McEnroe reached his last Grand Slam singles final at the US Open. This time, he was beaten in straight sets by Lendl. Taking time out by 1986, the pressures of playing at the top had become too much for McEnroe to handle, and he took a 6-month break from the tour. It was during this sabbatical that on August 1, 1986, he married actress Tatum O'Neal, with whom he had already had a son, Kevin. They had 2 more children, Sean and Emily, before divorcing in 1994. When he returned to the tour later in 1986, he won 3 ATP tournaments. But in 1987 he failed to win a title for the first time since turning pro. He took a 7-month break from the game following the US Open, where he was suspended for 2 months and fined $17,500 for misconduct and verbal abuse. Style of play: a left-hander, McEnroe played a continental forehand. His backhand was similarly continental and one-handed. His service motion is unique in tennis, with its biggest advantage being disguise in terms of placement. Known for very quick reflexes and deft hands, he possesses a superior net game. World #1 ranking. McEnroe became the top-ranked singles player in the world on March 3, 1980. He was the top-ranked player on 14 separate occasions between 1980 and 1985 and finished the year ranked World No. 1 4 straight years from 1981 through 1984. He spent a total of 170 weeks at the top of the rankings. Success in doubles. It has been written about McEnroe that he may have been the greatest doubles player of all time, and possibly the greatest team player never to have played a team sport. He was ranked the world #1 in doubles for 270 weeks. He formed a powerful partnership with Peter Fleming, with whom he won 57 men's doubles titles, including 4 at Wimbledon and 3 at the US Open. McEnroe won a 4th US Open men's doubles title in 1989 with Mark Woodford, and a 5th Wimbledon men's doubles title in 1992 with Michael Stich. He also won the 1977 French Open mixed doubles title with childhood friend Mary Carrillo. Davis Cup. More than any other player in his era, McEnroe was responsible for reviving U.S. interest in the Davis Cup, which had been shunned by Jimmy Connors and other leading U.S. players, and had not seen a top U.S. player regularly compete since Arthur Ashe. When asked if he was available for an upcoming Davis Cup fixture, McEnroe's reply was that he is always available to play for his country. In 1978, McEnroe won 2 singles rubbers in the final as the U.S. captured the cup for the first time since 1972, beating the United Kingdom in the final. McEnroe continued to be a mainstay of U.S. Davis Cup teams for the next 14 years and was part of U.S. winning teams in 1978, 1979, 1981, 1982, and 1992. He set numerous U.S. Davis Cup records, including years played, ties, singles wins, and total wins in singles and doubles. He played both singles and doubles in 13 series, and he and Peter Fleming won 14 of 15 Davis Cup doubles matches together. An epic performance was McEnroe's 6-hour, 22-minute victory over Mats Wilander in the deciding rubber of the 3-2 quarter-final win over Sweden in 1982, played in St. Louis, Missouri. McEnroe won the match, at the time the longest in Davis Cup history, 9-7, 6-2, 15-17, 3-6, 8-6. McEnroe nearly broke that record in a 6-hour, 20-minute loss to Boris Becker 5 years later. Becker won the match, the second rubber in a 3-2 loss to West Germany in World Group relegation play, 4-6, 15-13, 8-10, 6-2, 6-2. McEnroe also helped the U.S. win the World Team Cup in 1984 and 1985, in both cases defeating Czechoslovakia in the final years on the tour. McEnroe struggled to regain his form after his 1986 sabbatical. He lost 3 times in Grand Slam tournaments to Ivan Lendl, losing straight-set quarterfinals at both the 1987 US Open and the 1989 Australian Open, and a long 4-set match, played over 2 days, in the 4th round of the 1988 French Open. Rumors of drug abuse had begun during his second sabbatical. McEnroe denied them at the time, but acknowledged that he had used cocaine during his career in a 2000 interview that implied that the use occurred during this period, although he denied that the drug affected his play. Nevertheless, McEnroe had multiple notable victories in the final years of his career. In the 1988 French Open, McEnroe beat 16-year-old Michael Chang 6-0, 6-3, 6-1 in the third round. Chang went on to win the title the next year. In 1989, McEnroe won a record fifth title at the World Championship Tennis Finals, defeating top-ranked Lendl in the semi-finals. At Wimbledon, he defeated Mats Wilander in a four-set quarterfinal before losing to Stefan Edberg in a semi-final. He won the RTA Championships in Indianapolis and reached the final of the Canadian Open, where he lost to Lendl. He also won both of his singles rubbers in the quarter-final Davis Cup tie with Sweden. Controversy was never far from McEnroe. However, in his fourth-round match against Mikhail Penfors at the 1990 Australian Open, McEnroe was ejected from the tournament for swearing at the umpire, supervisor, and referee. He was warned by the umpire for intimidating a lineswoman, and then docked a point for smashing a racket. McEnroe was apparently unaware that a new code of conduct, which had been introduced just before the tournament, meant that a third code violation would not lead to the deduction of a game but instead would result in immediate disqualification. Therefore, when McEnroe unleashed volley of abuse at umpire Jerry Armstrong, he was defaulted. He was fined $6,500 for the incidents. Later that year, McEnroe reached the semi-finals of the U.S. Open, losing to the eventual champion, Pete Sampras, in 4 sets. He also won the Davidoff Swiss Indoors in Basel, defeating Goran Ivanisevic in a 5-set final. The last time McEnroe was ranked in the world top 10 was on October 22, 1990, when he was ranked 9th. His end-of-year singles ranking was 13th. In 1991, McEnroe won the last edition of the Volvo Tennis Chicago tournament by defeating his brother Patrick in the final. He won both of his singles rubbers in the quarter-final Davis Cup tie with Spain, and he reached the fourth round at Wimbledon and the third round at the U.S. Open. His end-of-year singles ranking was 28th in the world. In 1992, McEnroe defeated third-ranked and defending champion Boris Becker in the third round of the Australian Open 6-4, 6-3, 7-5 before a sellout crowd. In the fourth round, McEnroe needed 4 hours 42 minutes to defeat 9th-ranked Emilio Sanchez 8-6 in the fifth set. He lost to Wayne Ferreira in the quarterfinals. At Wimbledon, McEnroe reached the semi-finals where he lost in straight sets to the eventual champion Andre Agassi. McEnroe teamed with Michael Stich to win his fifth Wimbledon men's doubles title in a record-length 5-1-minute final, which the pair won 5-7, 7-6, 3-6, 7-6, 19-17. At the end of the year, he teamed with Sampras to win the doubles rubber in the Davis Cup final, where the U.S. defeated Switzerland 3-1. McEnroe retired from the professional tour at the end of 1992. He ended his singles career ranked 20th in the world. Personal life. McEnroe was married to Tatum O'Neal, Academy Award-winning actress and daughter of Ryan O'Neal, from 1986 to 1994, and the two had 3 children, Kevin, Sean and Emily. After the divorce, they were originally awarded joint custody of the children, but in 1998 McEnroe was awarded sole custody due to O'Neal's drug problems. After the divorce, McEnroe married rock musician Patti Smith in 1997, with whom he has 2 daughters, Anna and Ava, and a stepdaughter, Ruby. After retirement from the tour, McEnroe separated from O'Neal in 1992, and divorced in 1994. He married rock star Patti Smith in April 1997, with whom he has 2 daughters, Anna and Ava, and 1 stepdaughter, Ruby, from Smith's previous marriage to musician Richard Hell. McEnroe met Smith while pursuing his post-tour goal of becoming a working musician. He had learned to play guitar with the help of friends like Eddie Van Halen and Eric Clapton. During his divorce, McEnroe formed the Johnny Smith Band with himself as lead singer and guitarist, began writing songs, and played small gigs in cities where he played with the senior tour. Although Lars Ulrich complimented his natural instinct for music, a bar owner where McEnroe's band played said that he couldn't sing to save his life. The band toured for 2 years, but McEnroe suddenly quit in 1997 just before finishing his first album. McEnroe was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1999. He now works as a sports commentator in tennis and has regularly appeared in U.S. national telecasts of Grand Slam tennis matches on such networks as CBS, NBC, USA, and ESPN, as has his brother Patrick. He also commentates on Wimbledon for the BBC in the UK. McEnroe became the U.S. Davis Cup captain in September 1999. His team barely escaped defeat in the first 2 outings in 2000, beating Zimbabwe and the Czech Republic in tight 3-2 encounters. They were then defeated 5-0 by Spain in the semi-finals. McEnroe resigned in November 2000 after 14 months as captain, citing frustration with the Davis Cup schedule and format as 2 of his primary reasons. His brother Patrick took over the job. In 2002, McEnroe played himself in Mr. Deeds and again in 2008 in You Don't Mess with the Zone. McEnroe played himself in the 2004 movie Wimbledon. In July 2004, McEnroe began a CNBC talk show titled McEnroe. The show, however, was unsuccessful, twice earning a 0.0 Nielsen rating, and was cancelled within 5 months. In 2002, he hosted the American game show The Chair on ABC as well as the British version on BBC One, but this venture also was unsuccessful. In 2004, McEnroe said that during much of his career he had unwittingly taken steroids. He said that he had been administered these drugs without his knowledge, stating, "For 6 years I was unaware I was being given a form of steroid of the legal kind they used to give horses until they decided it was too strong, even for horses." McEnroe is active in philanthropy and tennis development. For years he has co-chaired the City Parks Tennis Charity Benefit, an annual fundraiser produced by the City Parks Foundation. The charitable event raises crucial funds for New York City's largest municipal youth tennis programs. He collects American contemporary art, and opened a gallery in Manhattan in 1993. McEnroe still plays regularly on the ATP Champions Tour. His most recent victory came at the Jean-Luc Lagardère Trophy in Paris in 2010, where he defeated Guy Forget in the final. Playing on the Champions Tour allows him to continue his most iconic rivalries with old adversaries Ivan Lendl and Bjorn Borg. In charity events and World Team Tennis, he has beaten many top players, including Mardy Fish and Mark Philippoussis. In 2007, McEnroe appeared on the NBC comedy 30 Rock as the host of a game show called Gold Case, in which he uttered his famous line, "You cannot be serious," when a taping went awry. McEnroe also appeared on the HBO comedy Curb Your Enthusiasm. In 2009, McEnroe appeared on 30 Rock again, in the episode Gavin Volure, where the title character, a mysterious, reclusive businessman, invites him to dinner because he bridges the worlds of art collecting and yelling. In 2010, he founded the John McEnroe Tennis Academy on Randall's Island in New York City. In 2012, 2012, McEnroe, commentating for ESPN, heavily criticized Australian tennis player Bernard Tomic for tanking against Andy Roddick at the US Open. However, Tomic was cleared of any wrongdoing, saying that he was simply overwhelmed by the occasion. McEnroe was part of Milos Raonic's coaching team from May to August 2016. Return to the tour. McEnroe returned to the ATP Tour in 2006 to play 2 doubles tournaments. In his first tournament, he teamed with Jonas Bjorkman to win the title at the SAP Open in San Jose. This was McEnroe's 78th doubles title and his first title since capturing the Paris indoor doubles title in November 1992 with his brother Patrick. The win meant that McEnroe had won doubles titles in 4 different decades. In his second tournament, McEnroe and Bjorkman lost in the quarterfinals of the tournament in Stockholm. McEnroe also won at the French Open in 2012 for the over 45 Legends doubles competition. He was partnered with his brother Patrick. They beat Guy Forget and Henry Leconte 7-6, 6-3. McEnroe and his brother Patrick also won again at the 2014 French Open in the over 45 Legends doubles competition. They beat Andres Gomez and Mark Woodford 4-6, 7-5, 1-0. Career statistics, Grand Slam tournament and year-end championship performance timeline records. These records were attained in the open era of tennis. Professional awards: ITF World Champion 1981, 1983, 1984. ATP Player of the Year 1981, 1983, 1984. ATP Most Improved Player 1978. World No.1 Male Player. Davis Cup Commitment Award